Hi, everybody. Well, today was very rough in the market for a lot of us that are traders. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. And after that, I want to actually take you into a version of a play that I put together. I call it the delayed roll. And basically, it gives you an opportunity to increase the premium on a roll by as much as 30% in the example that I'm going to show you. And I will take you through all the particulars. I just coined it that fun little phrase, and it's something I've been helping my members with. But before we get to that, I want to talk about the market in general and how important it is to evaluate your trades. And sometimes you have to do something that is a really bitter pill to swallow. And it's what I had to do today, and I shared it with my community members. I had a play that was losing, and there was no end in sight. It had to do with the SMCI, which actually I had made good money on SMCI earlier, but I just assessed the situation, and I decided that I had met the threshold for my personal loss on a trade, and I decided to go ahead and sell at a loss. Now, it isn't a cash account, so I will be able to use that for several other plays that are benefiting and that I have made money on this year when it comes time for taxes. It's a little bit of a consolation, but it's tough sometimes when you have to do that, and it feels awful. But I am someone that likes to look through the front windshield instead of into the back, and having that constant drag or worry on my account really makes it hard to trade. And so I decided for me personally that it was better to go ahead and take a loss. Let's use the remaining capital that exists to try to find plays that actually can work in my favor and be easier to manage than a play that has really gone off the rails, so to speak. And so I just wanted to share that with all of you and just be transparent about that there are losses that traders take, and sometimes they can hurt really bad. But I think that I'll be in a much better frame of mind to trade and try to find good plays, knowing that at least the pain is over. I've stopped the bleeding on that for now. Speaking of stopping the bleeding, I have always preached about making sure that in turbulent times that you have some cash available. I don't know if the pain is over. I know that we've experienced quite a bit of pain in the last couple of weeks, but there could be more with geopolitical tensions. We just don't know how it's going to play out with the interest rates and with the economy, recession talk. And so I did something today. I went through my portfolio and I looked at all of my trades that were winners. And I went ahead and cashed in a lot of those. So I wanted to build my cash reserves up, and I finally got it up to a level I'm comfortable with, so that if we do have a deeper dive, a deeper correction, that I can have my portfolio recover much quicker because I have the cash to deploy. And so I want you to think about those things when you're a trader. You know, sometimes you just kind of sit there and you stare at the screen and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. But you actually have to react to it in a way to preserve some capital, because if you don't have money to trade with, then you're really just at the mercy of time. And time does heal most wounds, even stock market wounds. But if you're an active trader, that can be really rough to just sit by and not do anything if the market continues to correct. So I wanted to share all that with you. Let's get into my computer, and I want to show you what the delayed roll is all about and how you can use it to your advantage. So before we go to the play, let's take a look at the stock itself and get a sense for what we're dealing with and if we anticipate there might be a pullback in the coming days. So if you look at this, Palantir has risen 11.73% today. So that's significant. And you can expect that as we're approaching the $27 mark, that potentially people will want to start taking profit. And you can see here on our Bollinger Band, we are approaching the 20-day moving average. And sometimes that can serve as resistance on a stock, unless there's significant volume to push it all the way through that. Then you'd be focused more on the top of this band. But if we do have a pullback, I would want to sell puts. Well, keeping in mind, I already have some sold puts that are significantly in profit due to this rush of activity. I have a decision to make, and so I wanted to show you the technical analysis on the trade And now let's go into the trade so that we can decide how we want to handle it and how we might help ourselves and how we may get even more money with all of the action around Palantir. So here is what you want to look at and consider. You can see here that this is a put that expires on December the 20th of 2024. So I have several more months of this play to play out for me to realize the max profit. You can see right here that I've got 10 contracts, so that's going to represent 1,000 shares of Palantir. So that is holding my money. I'm at the $20 strike price. So 1,000 shares at $20 is holding $20,000 in capital. And because this has already run so much, right now it is 63% in profit. I have made $1,628 on this trade. I made 915 of those dollars just today. But this right here shows you how much money is left in the trade. So $955 is left, and that equates to 95 cents a share. So your natural question might be, well, gosh, Ashley, why don't you just let this play out and hold on to it until December because you've got another almost $1,000 coming your way? True, but what if I could take that same amount of money and actually make more with it than leaving it tied up in this trade? But the problem you have is if you're going to roll this, let's say I decide to roll this down and it's at 20, maybe I decide at 22. I'm not going to get the best feel for the trade. And the reason I won't is there's two parts to that trade. Let's review it, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. One leg of the trade will be to my benefit, and that is the part where I am purchasing back the sold put because the stock's up today. So I won't be paying as much to buy it back. But the other part of the roll, which would require me to sell a new put, well, I'm not going to get the maximum I can get on that trade because the stock's running. And that would mean that I wouldn't get as much as when the stock is pulled back. So I'm going to go and facilitate what it would look like if I was going to roll the trade. And then I'm going to show you how it would look if I separated these trades out over different days and how it can increase my premium. So if I'm going to close out this trade on Merrill, you would simply buy it back. So when it populates, this would be the process to buy it back. But if I was going to do a roll, it's going to add that second leg. So let's populate all this information. I have 10 contracts. So a simple roll would be buying these back at 95 cents a share and going ahead and finding a new option that gets me over the 95 cents because, again, I want to make more money. So I will look at various trade setups and see what makes more sense. So if I wanted to roll this trade up, that is certainly something I could do. You know, I will be paying 95 cents to get out of this trade, and here I will be getting $1.42. So that gives me the credit. That sounds great, right? Let's go take a look at it. If I want to roll this trade, keeping the same date, but go up a couple of dollars in premium, it will require more money because I'm increasing my price right here from $20 to $22 a share. But I would get $476 for the difference in the trade. I'd be getting 49 cents, but there's a little commission. So you see that right here, the number to beat would be right at around $475, $500 would be the ideal situation if I'm rolling the trade. But what I want to show you is how much more I can get if I simply execute this leg of the trade, buying back this 95-cent one, and then I sit and wait patiently for the pullback. Then I will be able to get a much better fill on this one. So instead of $1.42, I will be able to more than likely get something closer to about $2, maybe even $2.25, because every time that Palantir pulls back by $1, this starts to increase. So let's go in and look at the specifics so I can tell how much more money I would make if I'm just patient and I go ahead and buy this back, free up my cash, and get ready to strike again. When you are looking at a stock and you're trying to determine how it'll move, you want to look at the delta. So if I look at the delta, down here for this $22 strike, the delta on this is 0.20. So what this is showing me is every dollar that Palantir moves down from where it currently is today, this $1.42 will gain about another 20 cents in premium. So keeping that in mind, let's see where we might anticipate it pulls back to, and then I can best calculate what this will be worth if I'm just a little bit more patient. So currently Palantir is trading at $26.78. But when I look at various levels of support, I notice there is this little gap right here, and that means that potentially Palantir could pull down $1, maybe $2, because we could get closer to the bottom of this band, or we might see where this purple line right here, which is the 50-day moving average, it may serve as support. But more than likely, one of these two would be the case. Either it'll come back $1, or it might even come down to the bottom of its band before it starts moving back up again, which would put it at about $2 down from where it currently is now. So instead of $1.42 for this trade, if I'm just patient and I wait till Palantir pulls back a couple of more dollars, I'll receive $1.82 for the trade, which is much better than seeing what I would have gotten had I rolled it. This allows me a 28% increase in my premium because I decided to wait for a down day, hence the delayed roll. So you buy the sold put back on a green day, and then you wait for the stock to retreat, and then you go and sell a new put on a red day. And if you can discipline yourself to that, you can get a lot more premium in your trades. This is how I am able to achieve outsized gains, and this is how I coach my students all week long. If you found this helpful and you want more real-time support, consider joining our Discord. It is a paid private community. We have some incredible individuals in there, and it has been so helpful to them to have each other and to have me and the other coaches to bounce ideas off of and to help them through these crazy trading weeks that we're having. We would love to welcome you in there. Book a brief call and we'll show it to you, and you can decide if it's right for you.